Predator 2 is a 1990 science fiction action film directed by Stephen Hopkins. A sequel to the 1987 film Predator, it's set in his 1997 near-future, crime-infested, war-torn Los Angeles. Here's an overview of the plot. The film begins with a shootout between the Colombian drug cartels and the LAPD in Los Angeles. Amidst the chaos, it is revealed that a new technologically advanced predator has arrived on Earth. This predator differs from that of the first film in that it hunts in different environments and uses new technology. The film follows Detective Mike Harrigan, played by Danny Glover, a tough and dedicated cop who leads a task force fighting drug cartels. As the predator begins eliminating both criminals and police, Harrigan is determined to track down and arrest this mysterious and terrifying foe. Harrigan was initially skeptical of the predator's existence due to the brutal and enigmatic nature of the killing. However, he soon encounters a government official named Peter Keyes, played by Gary Busey, who briefs him on the predator's past visits to Earth and his hunting tendencies. Keyes and his team are investigating the predator and want to catch it alive. As the predator continues its hunt, Harrigan and his team face increasingly dangerous encounters. They eventually discover that the predator is targeting Colombian drug cartel members because of their violent past. The hunt for the predator leads to a decisive showdown at the slaughterhouse, where Harrigan manages to wound the predator and remove its mask, revealing its grotesque appearance. In the final showdown, Harrigan faces a wounded predator in a spaceship hidden in the city. After a brutal battle, Harrigan emerges victorious using the predator's own weaponry. He manages to defeat the predator and escape from the ship before it self-destructs. The film ends with Harrigan receiving a flintlock pistol as a token of respect for Keyes' courage and determination. Harrigan escapes as the predator's spaceship explodes, announcing victory over the alien hunters. Predator 2 is about urban violence, crime, and clashes between human and alien hunters. Although it did not receive the critical acclaim of the original film, it has achieved a cult following over the years and remains a major entry point into the sci-fi and action genres. I will explain the real story of Predator 2, 1990, in detail. Los Angeles, 1997. The temperature in the city exceeds 90 degrees. On the streets, the LAPD and Colombian gangs engage in a heated battle, but the police are quickly defeated. Trapped in no man's land between police and gangsters, an attempt to rescue two injured police officers ends in failure with no support. Lieutenant Mike Harrigan rushes to the scene. Armed to protect his comrades and give him a chance to rescue his wounded friend, Harrigan drives his car straight to the front line. Harrigan kills several Colombians with a shotgun as his men advance. The remaining Colombians use the opportunity to retreat to a nearby building and use it as a fortress. As the Colombians arm themselves, they are attacked and slaughtered by an invisible enemy. Only the gang leader, El Scorpio, escapes and fires heavily at Harrigan and his team. Hysterically frightened, El Scorpio flees to the roof, followed by Harrigan. El Scorpio found a distorted human figure on the roof and readied his gun. Harrigan shot and killed a man who fell from a rooftop. Moments later, Harrigan catches a glimpse of the same distorted form, but it quickly disappears. In a gang-armed room, Harrigan's team marvels at how effectively all the Colombians have been eliminated. Danny finds one of them stripped naked and hung upside down about 40 feet above the ground. Danny is amazed at the strength it takes to accomplish such a task and looks away from him. The corpse is picked up by an invisible hand. Outside the building, Harrigan met the captain, Heineman, who informed him that he had disobeyed direct orders. Harrigan argues with him, pointing out that the war they are fighting in the streets is being lost to more armed Colombian drug dealers. Adding to the confusion is another faction. Jamaican gangs have also engaged the police and carried out brutal acts of terror against their enemies in Colombia. Returning to the precinct, Harrigan is instructed by another captain, who tells him not to interfere with a federal investigation led by a man named Peter Keyes. Keyes claims his team is trying to stop Colombian and Jamaican gangs from building empires on the West Coast. Harrigan agrees not to interfere in Keyes' work. Harrigan also welcomes a new member to his team, the smart and cocky detective Jerry. Jamaican gangsters interrupt Colombian gang leader Ramon Vega as he has sex with his girlfriend in a luxury apartment. They hung him upside down and cut out his heart as part of a voodoo ritual. They are suddenly attacked by an invisible enemy with superior weapons, and all are slaughtered. Arriving at the scene, Harrigan and his crew break orders and find several skinned bodies hanging from the ceiling. Vega's girlfriend is the only survivor. Keyes entered the room and ordered everyone to leave. His own crew begins investigating the room using an unusual device. Also in the room is a shady reporter, Tony Pope, who is filming the whole carnage. Everyone is thrown out of the room, and the surviving woman is taken away in an ambulance. Danny and Harrigan meet at the crime scene later that night and agree to conduct their own investigation. Danny comes first and looks around the room. Seeing a trail of claw marks following a decorated pillar, he climbs up. In the rafters, he discovers a small object embedded in the air conditioner. He unscrews it and examines it. I feel like I'm a vanguard of sorts. When he hears Harrigan's voice nearby, he misses his step and falls. His arm caught him, and Danny looked up to see a tall figure in a mask grabbing his ankle. The figure pulls him back and kills him. As he dies, Danny's necklace falls to the ground and is splattered with his own blood. Harrigan went to Captain Heinemann's office. The captain blames him severely for the death of Danny and continues to investigate Keyes. Harrigan leaves the meeting angry and confronts Keyes in the station lobby, telling him that he is motivated by revenge and finding Danny's killer himself. Strangely offended, Keyes tells him that the scope of the situation is beyond his understanding. At the police forensics lab, Harrigan asks the doctor to examine the spearhead he found on Danny's body. The doctor states that there is no metal in the periodic table of elements. He also tells Harrigan how Danny was murdered, with a sharp weapon that tore Danny's heart open. Harrigan orders Danny's wife, Leona, to arrange a meeting with Jamaican gang leader King Willie to share information about their mutual enemy. Harrigan also meets the German guard Keyes. The survivor of the Vegas apartment attack was taken away by helicopter and Jerry couldn't find him. When he and Harrigan leave the bar, a large limousine full of Jamaican gangsters is waiting for them. Harrigan joins them and is taken to an alley where he meets King Willie, a voodoo healer, who cryptically tells Harrigan that the enemy they both face is from an underworld he does not understand. Harrigan leaves without answering. Immediately after the walk, the predator jumps to the ground behind Willie and walks through a small body of water. The water creates an electrical disturbance in the body of the predator and it becomes visible. It challenges Willie to a fight and Willie loses. The predator carries Willie's severed head and is cleaned of tissue from his skull for a trophy, which he places on a spike. Harrigan invites Jerry and Leona to the forensics lab. According to the doctor, his only lead comes from the evidence gathered at the scene of Danny's murder. The killer he left behind remains in the slaughterhouse. Harrigan and Jerry recall that Jerry lost track of Keyes in the meatpacking area of Los Angeles. Harrigan tells them to meet him there. Harrigan goes to the cemetery to pay his respects to Danny. While there, he sees Danny's necklace hanging from a tree branch. Stunned looking around at his nemesis, Harrigan grabs the necklace and realizes that the predator is specifically after him. A moment earlier, a boy was playing with a toy gun in the cemetery. The predator targets the boy but does not kill him, realizing that the boy is not a threat because he is unarmed. On the subway to the slaughterhouse area, Jerry and Leona encounter gang members harassing a passenger. A commuter pulls a gun on them and the gang members do the same, prompting several other commuters to pull out their guns as well. As Jerry and Leona try to break up a potential carnage, a predator jumps on the roof of their car and enters. It wades through passengers and kills anyone with a weapon. Leona is able to guide most of the passengers out of the car and to the opposite end of the train. As he does so, he sees the German firing at an invisible target. Jerry's bullets have no effect and he jumps at the predator with a large knife. Leona pulls the alarm, which stops the train and directs the passengers from the platform. He walks back to the last car and finds the German and some commuters hanging by their ankles, dead. Suddenly a predator appears and grabs him. If you look at her with infrared vision, she will notice that she is pregnant. Harrigan arrives. Heinemann is already there. Harrigan concludes that all the dead passengers were armed. However, Jerry's body is missing and Harrigan walks down the tunnel looking for it. He sees the beast tear Jerry's skull and spine from his body. Harrigan chases it down the street. He steals a police car and chases it for several blocks until Keyes' men stop him. Taken to a high-tech command center, Keyes explains that the predator is an alien that uses advanced weapons. He tells Harrigan about a commando team that encountered one of these creatures in the jungles of Latin America 10 years earlier. Keyes says he believes the alien can only track its prey using infrared technology, and that the team planning to capture and study it will use special suits that insulate their body heat and make them invisible. At the same time, they dust the slaughterhouse with radioactive particles that make the alien visible. Their ultimate goal is to freeze the alien with frozen nitrogen. Every few days, a predator comes there to eat beef. Keyes tells Harrigan to stay in the command center and watch. Keyes and his team move into the slaughterhouse. Their gear works fine at first until a couple of crew members step on a creaky staircase. Hearing the noise, the predator uses a small control panel to adjust its vision amplifiers, which it switches several times until it sees the beams the team is using. Harrigan tries to warn the Keyes that they have been spotted, but the team is attacked by a predator that kills almost everyone. One crew sprays the smoke detector with nitrogen and activates the stock sprinkler. Harrigan leaves the control center, arms himself, and blows the door open just as the predator fires its laser cannon at Keyes. Harrigan fires at the predator, damaging its laser cannon. The alien tries to activate its cloaking system, but water falling from the ceiling prevents it from becoming invisible. Harrigan shoots the predator several times with a shotgun, blowing it off its back. He slowly approached it and took off his helmet, studying it for a moment before it suddenly awoke and threw Harrigan back. The last predator cornered Harrigan and was about to kill him when Keyes intervened, attempting to destroy the monster with frozen nitrogen. Keyes tells Harrigan to retreat as soon as the aliens launch a smart disk, cutting Keyes in half. The predator retreats to the roof of the building, using a breathing mask. He threw his large hunting spear at Harrigan and missed. Harrigan uses the spear to push the aliens and himself out of the building, where the two cling to a ledge. The timer-triggered predator is connected to a small nuclear charge. However, before the charge could go off, Harrigan used the alien's smart disk to cut off his arm, disabling the bomb. The alien fell to the side of the building, grabbed a large pipe, and rushed into the apartment bathroom. He used an elaborate first aid kit to bandage the wound and retreated once more. Harrigan follows him, falling down the building's elevator shaft into a cave below where the alien spaceship is hidden. Inside the spaceship, Harrigan finds a kind of small shrine with human, animal, and alien skulls. The predator attacks Harrigan again, who fights and kills him with his smart disk. After he died, several other predators appeared and brought their fallen comrades with them. The last to leave looked at Harrigan for a moment and threw him a flint, the spoil from the previous hunt. The name of the original owner and the year 1715 is engraved on the pistol. Harrigan heard the ship start and ran for cover just before the roar of the engine filled the cavern. When Harrigan, covered in dust and soot, emerges from a tunnel, he meets one of Key's assistants, who, seeing the emaciated Harrigan,